everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'll be giving a deck review. And I'll be doing this periodically over time. I'll probably do like 3 decks a video. I'm sorry if you hear any scraping at the door, that's my cat. I try to let her in here while I'm recording, but she ends up making too much noise like she's doing out there. But anyways, let's just get into the video. So, let's start off with a little bit of Singing Bowl. Okay, so let's hop right into the deck review. Alright, for the first deck I'll be showing is the Shadowscapes Tarot. This is actually my favorite deck out of all my decks. And this deck was created by Stephanie Puman-Law and co-wrote by Barbara Moore. Stephanie Puman-Law, she created the artwork and co-wrote the text, and Barbara assisted in the writing of the text. And then the artwork on the front is actually the Queen of Swords. Hopefully I'm not remembering that incorrectly. And then we get to the back of the deck. It kind of showcases some of the cards that are in the deck. And then it just kind of gives an overview, a summary of the concept of the deck. And then we get to the side where it clearly says the name of it again. And then it has a magnetic closing. And you will just pull this ribbon, this purple ribbon, and the deck will open up. So first, the packaging I love because the magnetic pull. I love how much work they put into the deck. And with the book, it is a full-sized book. And the opening, it kind of just, and these 2 pages tell about the authors. And then it's just a black and white themed inside. It doesn't have any of the coloring or anything like that. We get the, sorry, my mind is blanking. We get the artwork on the left side, and then we get the text on the right side. And that shows more once you get past the major arcana. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Once we get to the suits, like I said before, it has the artwork on the left side and the writing on the right side. And I don't normally really read the books. Sometimes I do if I know that some of the cards are a little bit different than the original tarot. So I might crack open the book a little bit, but I normally don't really read the book. So then we get to, after we pull the book out, we have where the cards are stored. You can see on the side it matches the back of the deck. And then you would just kind of course, clearly, pretty self-explanatory, you'll just pull the cards out. And this is the back of the deck. And then some of the cards, I'll show them. This is the 2 of Cups. One of the reasons why I love this deck so much is just the artwork. The artwork is just beautiful to me. When I first got this deck, I was like, wow. Where did you find this? I've never seen this one before. This one is one of my favorite cards, the Star card. It is one of the major arcana. Let's see. Just kind of, then we get the Lovers. I love the Lovers. So beautiful. I just love the airiness of it. It's so light. It's so pure. It's so refreshing. Even with the Death card. Usually in tarot, the Death card is usually kind of dark, kind of eerie. But this kind of shows a different version of the Death card, that death doesn't always have to be depressing. There is a light side, because after death is what? Rebirth. And I love the light coloring. I love the Phoenix. Just a wonderfully put together deck. The World card. Beautiful. And I'm going to be leaving all the links to these decks in the description box. We get the Devil, the Empress. And I love butterflies, and that's one of the themes in this deck too, is butterflies. So that is what also really drew me to this deck. The Temperance. I love this deck. Every time I see it, my love just, once again, is reignited. And I got some candle wax on this one, on the Moon card. Just a wonderfully deck. Just a wonderfully put together deck. I'm sorry. Clearly, I am tongue-tied tonight. And the card stock is kind of thin, but it is pretty sturdy. Like, how many times I've shuffled this deck, even though sometimes I'll bend it a little bit, you can easily kind of bend it again so that it's back into its straight form where it's no bends or anything. With a little bit of wear and tear, you'll kind of just see at the top, you'll kind of get some of these little, like, you can just kind of see the silver painting on here is kind of chipping away. But, I mean, that's normal wear and tear. If you use a deck quite often, then you'll definitely get the wear and tear of it. King of Pentacles. I'm sorry if you hear my cat. She wants to come in here so badly. But I'm like, little lady, no. You're too loud. The Magician. This is my card. I'm a Taurus. This is the Hierophant. Just a beautiful deck. I don't know why, but I love the Tower card in this deck. And, you know, there's so many purples in this deck, as you can see from my altar, from the tablecloth. Purple is my color, and so much purple is in this deck, and I just love that. This deck, though, when I'm pulling cards, the weirdest thing about this deck is for how light and airy it is. It definitely works very well, at least for me and my own experience with this deck. It definitely works very well with darker readings. Like, if someone's asking, like, something of a more serious matter, or something of depression, or something of struggle, of anything a little bit darker, a little bit, or struggles, I'll say that. This deck works really well for me with struggles and trying to understand struggles, and yeah, this deck works really well for that. And ironically, I don't even want to say ironically, for how cute and girly this deck is definitely bougie. If it doesn't want to be pulled, it's not going to give me anything, or it's going to give me a reading that is not resonating. So usually before I use this deck, I like to cleanse it with my crystals, cleanse it with some incense, and even cleanse it with some Palo Santo. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Because this deck will not work with me if it is not in the mood. So again, let me show you the front. The Shadowscapes deck. And this is it. All right, let's move on to the next deck. All right, for this deck, this is the Tattoo Tarot. It's by Lana Zellner. These names be tripping me up. And the front of the artwork is actually the Ace of Pentacles. And then the back of the deck has the Strength card and the Three of Cups. And again, usually the back of the deck is almost like a book. It kind of gives the overview of the deck, how many cards are in there. Yeah. And then we get to the side of the deck. This has the Emperor, and it has the name again. And then on the other side, it has the Fool card, again, the name on the side. And then on these sides, it just has the name of the deck, Eight of Coins, Tattoo Tarot. Then on the back, it has the same thing. Now, again, with most of my decks, I don't always keep them in their original packaging. Let's open it up. This one is pull open, doesn't have any ribbon or anything. And then even on the sides here, just has some patterning all the way around. Now the deck for this book is very colorful. It looks just like the cards. And let's open it up. And it has like that glossy kind of soft, thicker paper for the pages, and it kind of just, you know, it kind of gives you little these are pictures of the author creating the decks and sketching them out. So let's get into, see, on the sides it kind of has where you're at. These are the major arcana, so it kind of have this highlighted while the rest is blacked out. And as you can see, it's colorful. On the left side, it's the artwork, and then on the right side, it's the text. So again, the pages are soft. They are thick. I love the book. Again, I don't read the books, but I enjoy kind of flipping through them once I get a new deck. 8 of Wands. Yeah. So there's the book. Now, like I said, I don't keep my deck inside the original packaging. I keep this deck inside of here. I just slip it right in. And it's so funny because like this is kind of like a fox leather kind of thing. And it really matches the aesthetic of this deck. So when I found the packaging, or I found this sleeve, I was like, wow, this goes perfectly. And I actually just found it in my room. Like, okay, thank you for finding this, Grace. So with the card stock on this deck, on the front, it just has black with a little emblem in the front. And then the back, what card is this? Is the Tower card. So it just has like a white border, and then the picture in the middle. And I use this deck a lot. This is actually my go-to deck. Because this deck, for me, gives me the most accurate readings. I don't care how many times I've used this deck. This deck is strong. It doesn't need to be cleansed much. I always get an accurate reading. I always get some of my strongest readings have been with this deck. So I'll usually go to this deck if I need to get just a straight answer, or if I don't want to jump through any hoops or put pieces together. This deck will definitely give me the straight answer. Usually the cards fly out itself. I don't really have to pull any cards. This deck is always energized and always ready to work. As you can see, it's pretty worn. You could probably see better from the side how worn it is. It kind of just shows how much I use the deck. And this deck, I don't know if you could tell, but it is kind of bent. Let's see. Yeah, I kind of bend these cards because when I shuffle them, I kind of go this way. So yeah, this deck is definitely my go-to deck. So let's just take a look at some of the cards that are on the inside. This is, well, you all can read. This is the Star card. She wants to come in here so badly. I feel so bad, but she's gonna have to wait. Poor lady. And we get the Moon card. Such a great deck. Such a great deck. I got this deck from Barnes & Noble. My dumbass. I can't read Roman numerals. I'm about to say numerology. Roman numerals, so I just put the numbers on the side. So yeah, we get the 7 of Coins, the Lovers, the Queen of Wands. Here's the Fool card. So yeah, this deck is definitely my go-to deck. Definitely. Especially if I'm doing a reading on myself sometimes and I'm kind of rushing, but I like to pull a card for the day. I'll go to this deck and I'll get an answer right away. And I'll go through a few more of these cards. I won't go through the whole deck like I did with the Shadowscapes. And again, I'm going to leave the links to all these decks in the description box below. But when I talk about the energy for these decks, it's always going to be different. Like, if you buy this deck, don't expect your deck, even if this is the same exact deck, don't expect your deck to work the same way I describe this deck to work. Like, that's just how this deck ended up working for me. That's just how me and this deck and I have connected. So your deck is going to connect with you in a certain way, and it's going to work with you in a certain way. And each deck that you get, it will work for you in certain ways. Like I said, the Shadowscapes is more my bougie deck. This deck is always willing to work. I don't have to charge it that often. Like, I've used this deck maybe for a full week straight, didn't use any other decks, and I still was able to use the deck without recharging it or without having to cleanse it. So yeah, this is my Tattoo Tarot, and this is a pretty popular deck. I've seen quite a few people on YouTube have this deck. So let's get into the last deck. Alright, for this deck, this is the Good Tarot by Colette Baron Reid. The front of the deck, if I'm not remembering incorrectly, it is the Moon card. And on the side of the deck, it just has the Good Tarot, Colette's name again. And then, of course, on the back, it just gives a few of the cards that's in the deck. And then it just gives the overview of the deck and the concept of the deck. And then with the book here is just a smaller book to fit inside the deck or inside the packaging. And it's not like the other books where the left side was the card and the right side was the text. It just has card on top, text on bottom, and it is just the black and white theme. And then it doesn't really have any special paper like the Tattoo Tarot. It just has normal paper in it. Alright, so the deck itself, I don't know. This deck just reminds me of like a door or a window or of some sort. And here's the back. Hopefully the glare isn't ruining the visual. And the card stock, this is a larger card stock, whereas the other decks, the cards were a little bit smaller and it was more of like a rectangle. I feel like this is more of like a square. I will say it is hard to shuffle with this deck because of how large the cards are. And let's see what card we pull. We pulled, this is the Nine of Earth. And that's another thing. This deck doesn't do pentacles, wands, swords, cups. This deck does earth, air, fire, and wind. Hopefully, I haven't used this deck in a while, so excuse me if I'm wrong. We'll see if I'm wrong. So the earth is representing the pentacles, and this is the Nine of Pentacles. So let's just see the rest of... Okay, here we go. I left out water. I'm stupid. So we get Seven of Water. So water would be the cups, Two of Earth, King of Earth, and then fire. So we've seen water, earth. Here's Page of Fire. Four of Air would be swords. So it just goes based upon the elements. So earth, air, fire. Am I missing one? I don't know why my mind is blanking on this deck so much. Probably because I haven't used it in a while. Excuse me for that. Six of Air. The Magician. I don't know. This deck just is so beautiful. I saw this deck from a tarot reading I was watching on YouTube. And I was like, I have to get this deck. I have to. This deck is calling my name. I need it. And then we get the Wheel of Fortune. We're seeing a lot of earth here. This could be a message. Someone getting some money. Someone getting a new job. Interesting. And then my card, the Hierophant. Ace of Air, and the Star, the Lovers. Here we go, the Moon, so I was right. 10 of Air. My poor lady out there. She wants to come in so badly. Okay, and then I'm just gonna kind of shuffle through a little bit. And I've used this deck pretty often. So these sides, the deck is a little bit worn. Just a little bit, not too much as you can see. If it's a little worn, but it's not even that noticeable. But as you can see, probably on the side, you can see a little bit more. It's kind of worn. But the cardstock is really thick. So that's why the deck is pretty thick itself. Because the cardstock is pretty thick. And one thing I will say definitely is the glossy material on the sides. As you frequently use the deck, it will start to curl up. I'm not sure if you can see or tell on this deck, but by holding it, you can definitely feel the gloss over top is starting to peel over. And again, like I said, I will be putting the links to all these decks in the description box. And yeah. Okay, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to end the video with a little singing bowl meditation. Alright, everyone, I'll catch you on my next video. Bye.